being as a partner, what they like mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and physically. It was ridiculous in the specificity. I did probably 7 or 8 pages. But then I answered the most important question after that, which is what kind of person would it take to attract, and not only attract, but completely engage that person so that they'd want to be with you forever. And I had to write down the qualities of what I had to be and what I would not be as well. Because sometimes you get all the things you want in a person, but then there's these other things that mess everything up. And the two of us did that. I remember reading my list. I used to in the old days before, having everything on your phone, used to have my black book with all my addresses and my calendars and all that stuff in it, my day planner. And I had the front page, everything that I wanted. I was reading it. And we were together actually.
We were actually on a train going on the Orient Express, and we were sitting there. We just ordered some tea, believe it or not. And he looked at me and he pulled this book out and he started reading it. And we had a cookie, and in that same moment, we took a bite of the cookie and we put it down in that exact same moment. And he's like, you know what? He said, let me read this list. And it was like he had known me for a lifetime and was describing me and vice versa.
But I don't think you're going to recognize the person you want unless you get clear about what you want and also what you don't want. But you got to also decide what are the musts and what are the shoulds. Everybody's got this list of all the things you want in another person. And oftentimes when we have couples, we'll sit down and say, describe everything. If you weren't in a relationship, everything you'd want in a person and everything you wouldn't want. And then we have them say, now, what kind of person would it take to achieve all that? And then we have them circle what they are and what they're not. And usually they have a million rules for how the partner's supposed to be and only a few rules for themselves what they're breaking. So in a relationship, to attract a relationship and most importantly, to engage someone continuously for a lifetime, the most important thing in a relationship, we believe, is the state of the union. The state of the union is if you don't manage your own state of emotion, you can have stuff from work or from your kids or from your family or from challenges in life, and those things get in the way. And pretty soon, you let them dominate your relationship. Look, if two people are both in a just incredibly great state, they're excited about life, excited about their work, excited about their mission, they feel great about themselves, you know when two people are both in a great state, you're going to have a great relationship. If two people are in kind of an okay state, the best that relationship's going to be okay. And if two people are in a crappy state, a lousy state, good people can do mean things when they're in bad states. And so we really work on making sure that if either one of us gets out of that state, we're loving the other. We don't expect them to pop up here automatically. We understand we're going to be down, but we stay and we connect and we love on that person until we can bring them up to that higher level. But we always tell everyone, relationship is really you first. Everybody wants to say it's my partner, but it's you. If you're in the right state, you can get anybody to love you. Now, you may not be the right partner with someone. You might have the same values as someone, the same mission or vision, and it might not be sustainable. But you can make any relationship feel alive if you bring to that relationship something. Most people are trying to go to a relationship to get something. Great loves are people who go to a relationship to give something.
And many of you are asking how you get in that state. There's no perfect state, but if either of us are in a poor state or we're exhausted or we just got home of being on the road and we're physically tired, sometimes it's crazy. I mean, food, sleep, changing your physiology is such a game changer. If I'm hooked or if I'm charged or Tony is, we'll literally say, let's take 10 minutes and just walk away and have a sip of water. It sounds absurd. Or go outside or jump in cold water, have a cold shower to shift the physical lock so you can come back to it fresh.
Because Nicola was asking, Lewis there, I guess it was saying, how do you do that? I would say the other thing that I do is every single day I do this thing I call priming, which is, it's not a meditation. I'm not a big meditator, but I do this process of making a radical change in my body. I do with this 7 breathing patterns. And then I put some music on. And for 10 minutes every day, no matter what, I go and I do 3 minutes of just gratitude, everything I'm grateful for. Because, when you're grateful, you're rich. When you're grateful, you're happy. If you have everything on earth, but you're not grateful, you have nothing, right? So I make myself not just think, antiseptically about something over there. I step in and feel that gratitude. And the next 3 minutes, what I do is I put myself in a place where I send out love and healing, sounds corny, to my family, to my friends, an ever-larging circle, to my clients, to the world. And it's a meditation of giving versus taking. And then the last 3 minutes is, what am I here to create? What are the top 3 things that I want to achieve or make happen? And I stay focused on those, and I feel them as if they're done. Test.
Hello, family. Stay tuned.
There's no
Just 1
audio,
minute.
Tony, no audio.
Oh, okay, let me
We'll do it in sign language. Testing, any better?
Oh, there we
yay.
go.
Okay, good. Can we have someone on video now without cutting off our audio? That'd be cool. This Speakcast is brand new, so it's pretty nice. I guess we've got almost 7,000 people from around the world on here.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. We want to take your questions and answer them well. Here we go. Sounds back. Let's have a video.
Great, so another question?
Laura Lee's black. Love making. No, I think being playful, I think a couple things. We both set a standard that when we got in a relationship, we decided we know who each other are for each other. In other words, we never question the other person's intent. If something's done, if something's said, if something is not done or not said, instead of saying you don't give a shit or you did this to me, even if it feels like the worst thing on earth, we always come back to the place of, I know my girl's intent is pure. She knows my intent is pure. And so we never say you did that to hurt me, because we know that's not true. We know we love each other completely, but we're different people. We're from different planets in many ways. We have so much in common, but we're also different. That's where the spice and the energy is. And so I think the number one rule is to never question intent. When you question my intent, you literally destroy the soul of a relationship. I think the second thing is realizing when you're in a lousy state, I don't care how much you love each other, you're going to do stupid things. I mean, really mean people can be really, really sweet when they're in a sweet state. Sweet people can be mean when they're in a mean state. So it's like when we feel we're not in a state where we're going to communicate well with each other, we do something physical. We go outside. We jump in the jacuzzi or the water or the pool. We take a cold shower. We drink some water. We do anything. We turn on some music. We do something to change that state radically. Go for a run or work out and come back to it fresh. And from that place, when you're in your strongest state, you'll cut through all the bullshit because you love each other.
And they're just FYI, team, they're actually mentioning about the sound once again, so just making certain that it's actually coming through. Another thing with Tony sharing about, knowing your partner's intent, there's going to be behavior. All of us are going to have behavior at times that feels unconscious or feels unkind with zero bad intent. And to be able to have that clarity of that knowing, I know this man's heart, he knows my heart. So no matter what you navigate, if I do have an unconscious moment, or if I do get angry or vice versa, you can navigate it from
You don't ever get it.
I'm a bit of a handful. From such a different place of grace. And then as well, to piggyback that is not blaming. I think just taking responsibility no matter what transpires, knowing that no matter what it looks like, that you've played your part. And taking responsibility from a sincere place neutralizes that charge and neutralizes the wrong, and rather than building on that and making the other person wrong, it's just honoring the relationship from a place of love.
I think one of the most important things too, and please let me know when you have a video because that's the whole reason we did this.
Yeah.
You got one. Okay, let's put them through.
Mike, Elliot, we're not seeing you yet, but we
got
see
your
your
name,
name.
Mike.
Hi,
how are you?
Hi. How are you?
Oh, this is very cool if I see somebody talk like this. Where are you guys from?
This is like a dream country.
Aw.
Victoria, Canada.
I'm Canadian.
Huge fans, and we really appreciate having that. This is amazing.
This is unreal.
It's Mike, and what's your name?
Okay, our question. My name's
Lauren? Okay, Mike and Lauren, thank you.
Hi, Lauren.
What's your question?
Okay, our question is,
There we go.
how to properly manage your time between chasing your dreams and maintaining a really strong, intimate relationship.
Okay.
I think the most important thing, I'm a driven son of a you-know-what. I got a mission, and my girl, fortunately, is mission-driven too. We are fortunate enough to be able to work together. A lot of people want to kill each other if they're around each other 24/7. We love each other. But even with that, there are different aspects of what we do that might pull us apart. And our focus, my number one thing is you have to make a decision that as a male, I never thought I'd make in my life. You have to decide that your relationship is the number one thing in your life. If you would have said to me that my girl would be more important than my mission, I tell you, you're absolutely insane. That'll never happen. But when she became number one for me, it deepened and strengthened my mission because I was filled with so much love and so much joy. I had more to give, more to push through, and more to make happen. Having said that, there is no such thing as work-life balance. It's total bullshit. There's work-life integration. And it's really when you can find enough things that you share together about what you do that excites you together, I think that's what makes it a hell of a lot easier. If you both do radically different things at different hours of the day, different times, then you've got to have that sacred space that everything gets shut off. I mean, we live in a world where constantly we're interrupted. You know, there's no such thing as intimacy when there's somebody responding to another text. And any moment that stuff can happen, especially as busy as I'm sure your guys' lives are and ours is. So it's like we have our national date days after events where we're on stage and together we're working to help, 5,000, 10,000 people do something 18, 20 hours a day. We come home and it's like, okay, we'll do some emails in the morning and then it's date day, and that's what we do. And we go do simple stuff just with each other. So I think marking out specific times, aligning with it, and not having the illusion that there's balance in life, there's integration in life. If you're totally balanced, if you and I got on a teeter-totter or a seesaw, and you're on your side and I'm on my side, and we balance it out, and if that's the object of the game of life, to balance it out, how bored would you be? How long are we going to sit here like this before one of us starts jerking this thing up and down just to feel alive? And that's what people do in their relationships, and they try to balance their relationship. I think a passionate relationship is more powerful than a balanced one.
And I think as well, making your minutes matter. Many times we'll work a 19, 20-hour day, and yet throughout the day, whether, it sounds crazy, text communication, email communication, touches, kisses, if we have the privilege of being in proximity, and even we'll set a date at the end of the night. It's like, oh my God, and we have anticipation for, even if it's at midnight, that we can crawl in bed and curl up and watch a movie. It sounds absurd, but we make our moments matter. And so rather than having the expectation that, it needs to be a certain amount of time every single day, if we have 5 minutes, we are present for those 5 minutes and we celebrate those 5 minutes, or at the end of the day or the beginning of the day. And I think having rituals as well, starting your day with, 5-10 minutes of snuggle, or ending your day, like we look forward to crawling into bed at night just because there's no people, there's no phones, there's no nothing, and having just each other and having that space.
Does that answer your question?
Thank you so much.
Sage, Tony, I so much.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. You're lovely.
You both are lovely. You've got a great energy between you. Enjoy.
You picked the right woman, Mike.
I think he knows that.
I know.
I can feel that. Do we have another video one? Awesome. Let's pop it through.
It's Aline.
There we go.
Yes, Brazil.
Nice to see you. Where are you from, Aline?
Brazil. Woo!
What's your question?
Well, first of all, when you are coming to Brazil, please, Tony and Sage.
We'd love to. We've been there once before, but it's been a lot of years.
It's a beautiful country.
Wow, come back, please. We need you guys here. All the good energy, good thoughts, and self-development, everything. My real question is how to get apart from a relationship that is toxic for you. Not because you don't decide to get out from the relationship, but because you cannot maintain your decision. So the basic question is how to maintain our decisions.
Well, when you made a decision to get out of a relationship, it's one of the most difficult decisions, and we've all made it, right? It's incredibly difficult because you're going against some of your own needs. Even if that person isn't perfect, there's some level of connection. You know that even if there's problems, you know the problems. There's a need for certainty. There's a need for some level of connection, even if it's a negative connection. There's some variety in your life. Different kinds of fights give you variety. So when you try to end a relationship, what you've done is it's like trying to stop smoking. People stop smoking and then they start eating. Because when you're smoking, it meets many of our what we call the 6 human needs. When you're smoking a cigarette makes you feel comfortable. You take that breath in, you feel certain. Smoking a cigarette changes your state. It creates a variety. If smoking a cigarette may feel like a connection to yourself. So when you meet 2 or 3 of your needs, it becomes addictive. And if you don't know a new way to meet those needs, then a person eats to feel comfortable. They eat for variety. They eat to feel connected to themselves. So I think it's really important when you're leaving a relationship for you to figure out what's going to replace those needs, at least for a time. So you don't just run from one relationship to the next or run out of that relationship and go, it's wrong, but I miss him so much, I'll go back, because you're afraid of being alone. So I think that's where having some new rituals for yourself, some rituals that cause you to be strong physically, like working out, some rituals like some of your friends that you're with, but you got to really select your friends. I'll give you an example. I was on a talk show with a bunch of ladies here in the United States. It's a morning talk show that's pretty famous here, and it's called The View. And all these women were talking, and they had me on in January, and they asked me, I was doing a program on how to really transform your body and have the energy and fitness and aliveness you want. And all 5 women actually, walked out and followed me into the green room afterwards and said, oh my gosh, we're all going to do this together. And I said, no. I said, just 1 second. I said, you know how much I respect you. You're the best in your industry. One of the women there is very famous here in the United States for decades. I said, you know, you're a friend of mine. I couldn't respect you more. But you're a master of journalism. You're a master of media. You're not a master of your bodies, any of you. If you guys start to go spend time with each other and try to go on a workout program, one of you is going to say, I want my Starbucks mocha something, and the other one's going to go, me too. You need to get around somebody who's successful. You need to get around couples that have got a great relationship. I know there are very few. I'm not stupid. I'm not ignorant. But there's some. I'm sure you have access. Get around them, and it'll change your standard for what you'll accept. I promise you. Because we all get what we tolerate.
And it is a difficult place, and it's more difficult than you probably even want to anticipate, but there's a sweet spot on the other side of that. And having clarity and making that decision creates a space and a vortex to be able to have something magnificent. We were both in a place where we both made that tough decision, and we navigated it as graceful as we could at the time. And, you know, in a very short time later, we actually attracted each other and found each other. So stay true to yourself.
And again, when I left my relationship, I felt that pang of like, did I do the right thing? Even though my gut knew it was right, by writing down everything I really, truly wanted in a relationship, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually.
That's the time.
And then looking at that relationship going, that's not it. And who do I got to become? That made me focus on becoming that person instead of going back to the other person. It also made me clear this is not going to meet my needs long term. And that helped me. I would read that literally in my weak moments so I'd stay on target. I hope that's helpful.
Yes, it's awesome, guys. Thank you very much for everything, all your work, all your life serving us. I know you are a great man, and you are great to all of that. Thank you very much. Please come to that book of my dream. It's a seminar, okay?
Bye-bye.
Okay, take good care. Hope to see you again. We have another one now? Text question when we're getting ready. Okay, here we go. Christine says, I'm single and I don't want to be. What can I do? Well, first of all, I think, once again, I say to be repetitive, you've got to be clear what you do want, not what you don't want. You know, the more you focus on I don't want to be single, kind of the more that shows up. Don't think of the color blue. Don't think of the color blue. You got more of that. And also, when you don't want to be something, when you finally get around somebody, you're going to have so much pressure for not wanting to be what you are currently that it'll create a tension in you that will cause, no matter how attractive you are, it'll cause the opposite sex or the opposite energy if you're a same-sex relationship to be pushed away from you, polarized. No one likes neediness. It's in the human nervous system to avoid neediness unless you're looking for somebody to fix. And I know some people get in relationships to try to fix somebody else, and they might gravitate towards it. So I would do the things that would make me stronger, happier, healthier, more fit. I'd be pursuing my dreams and goals, and I'd be clear about what I want. And then I put myself in environments where I'm most likely to find that kind of person. Because if you see how do people get hooked up today, you know, the web makes it possible for you to get hooked up from anywhere, but so many people still get hooked up in environments that they don't want to go to in their normal daily life. If you're visiting, you know, the bar to visit and be somewhere and you're not a bar hopper, well, of course you're going to meet somebody there that you'll be attracted to. There'll be chemistry. But most people get in a relationship because really 3 things happen. Number 1, they're in proximity. If you see anybody get around somebody else and you see a situation where, you know, they're really not in a position where they're with somebody they want, you say, how did you guys meet? They'll say, well, we were neighbors. We worked together. Well, we worked on this project together. Proximity is how relationships start. I remember seeing Elizabeth Taylor once married her 7th husband, and he was a truck driver. You know, she was a movie star. How's that happen? Well, they're in Betty Ford together. They're in proximity. The second thing happens after that proximity is chemistry. So you start to get this chemistry, and chemistry can make things work for a while, but it won't sustain it long term. And the third thing is people stay often for convenience. So I say to somebody, decide what you want. Figure out what kind of person you need to be and where would that person be frequenting. And I put myself in an environment regularly, sincerely, while I live my life, not from a place of neediness, from a place of trust that at the right time, the right person will show up. It's easier to say than do, but it really is important to do as well. What would you say, Andy?
I just echo, we live in such an unusual world, a disconnected world as far as social media and everything. And I think it's just a matter of, number one, believe in knowing that he or she is out there and putting yourself out there with a place of faith and trust in timing. Trust in timing. For us, it was such an unexpected timing. And as well, here's a crazy thing. They might already be in your life. Tony and I were such dear friends at the beginning. We were not lovers at the beginning. And we shared the dearest friendship, and it was the most unexpected gift that, we became husband and wife and fell so completely in love. But we did start out as friends, so you never know. This individual actually might be already in your life.
I think that's another important thing. I think today it's so easy to hook up. I mean, pull out Tinder and you got a relationship. I mean, it's almost like it's a commodity today. And easy in, easy out. Attraction and chemistry is easy to get with just, whoever fits your criteria. Everybody has different criteria. When you fall in love with somebody, some of your criteria that you thought attracted you will change. If you really love somebody, it's truly miraculous how it works. I mean, I wasn't my girl's ideal. She liked shorter men. I'm taller. I'm more hairy. She's not hairy. I liked women that were, smaller, not as tall. And now I think about it, she couldn't be more perfect. I wanted dark hair. I got blonde hair. But it's like, who gives a shit about that? When you love with somebody, all of that stuff changes. And what I know is when you start with just attraction or just that energy, and that's all the relationship's based on, it starts here. It's got nowhere to go. If you've got deep friendship, and then you can build that passion, now you have something that can last decades and decades, and you have love and passion, not a passion for short term just because it's a new person, it's a new stimulus. I mean, I wake up every day wondering who is the woman I'm waking up to next day, because my girl's got so many personalities, but I wouldn't have known that if we hadn't gone this deep.
And we are best friends. There's nothing more gorgeous and beautiful than sharing your life with your best friend.
Making love your best friend is even better. I know that doesn't work for some of you, but in this context, it really does. All right, do we have another video? Hey, Allison.
Hi.
Hey, Allison. Hi.
Most amazing moments of my life to be speaking with
Aww.
you. You've been such an inspiration to me. My sister introduced me to you. This is my son.
Hi. Hi. He's adorable. It's awesome.
My question is, how do you keep the romance alive when your spouse has suffered a traumatic brain injury? My husband, 6 years ago, had a stroke, and we found out that he has a rare genetic disorder, and it affected his hippocampus, and I've become his primary caregiver to keep him out of a nursing home. And he's my best friend, and we've been together for 15 years, and I adore him, but we've lost the physical intimacy of our relationship because of his mental and physical disabilities, and it's been extremely challenging. And just wondering how we can keep memories going and keep our love strong and continue on, even though I know that part of our relationship is gone.
There's no easy answer to that. I wish there was. There's a polarity that makes attraction happen, and that polarity is that masculine, feminine energy, that opposite energy. And when something like this happens and you're becoming the caregiver, it changes the dynamic of that, because your husband is probably not demonstrating the same masculine energies because of that. And so you become neutralized. I always tell people, intimate relationships, relationships don't end for a lack of love. They end for a lack of intimacy. But intimacy can be found in playful ways, in different ways. It's like the heaviness that you have. I can't pretend to give you an easy answer. I don't know that I would perform better than you were in creating this. But I have met people who someone has had a stroke or someone has gone through a debilitating injury. And what that really makes it for them is they come up with games. They come up with crazy stuff. They use a little darkness instead of just the light. You're living in the light of loving your husband all the time, which is unbelievably admirable and consistent with the energy of who you are. But if you can find some ways to play with the darkness, to just the absurdity of it, the humor of it, and find those individual connections, which is not easy to do when you got your children running around, you're trying to maintain and support everything on earth. Part of it probably is you being able to literally lock some time away for just you, where you could allow the feminine in you to be let go, because you're holding on with so much responsibility. I can see it in your face. and I honor you. I mean, most human beings are just, they ditch their partner in this case. So I get what a soul you are, but you need to have that 30 minutes, that 1 hour that's sacrosanct so that you can fill up. And then from that place, you could get crazy, you could get playful, you can do all kinds of things that could make things come back to life for you guys. This is not, I'm not telling you because I've done it. I'd be bullshitting you to say that because I haven't dealt with what you've dealt with. So I'm not pretending I have the answer. But I know it's possible because I met so many individual couples that have been to bring it alive. And most don't, but the ones that do, there's a playfulness, there's a craziness, there's a darkness, there's things that other people would think are bizarre, and that's what makes that energy come back to life. And the fact that you're asking the question means some part of you believe there's an answer. Even though you don't know what it is, you believe it's there. You wouldn't take the time to reach out. So I know it's inside you.
Whether it is or not, I'm with him for the rest of my life. He's my very best friend, my soulmate. I adore him. We have a beautiful son that you met. His name is Taro, and he's our miracle. And I will never give up hope. And I'm really lucky that he's still here with us, actually. So I'm honored to.
Oh, there's a movie, I don't know if you've seen it, called The Theory of Everything. Have you seen that film?
I have not. I've been wanting to see that, actually. Stephen Hawking.
I think it's a true story of Stephen Hawking's life. And, there's a stage in his life where his wife, who was, it's a true story, who was there for him every way, they'd lost this energy, and another woman came in, quite honestly, and Stephen was worse than before, and the energy was returned to their relationship. It'd be worth seeing what the second woman did in that film, because it's actually true, that produced this passion with Stephen unable to function in any way. It might be useful just for opening your imagination what's possible. But whatever you do, God bless you. You're an extraordinary soul, and your husband is a very lucky man. I know he must be an amazing soul for you to be this devoted to him. Blessings to you.
Thank you so much. It was such an honor to be able to speak with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Allison.
God bless.
God
Allison.
bless. Thank you.
Okay. Sex and intimacy from dance has lasted a year. It's now, let's continue with the balance. Now it's a bit dull and boring. Okay, he's very sexually driven. His wife is religiously educated and quite shy. And his question is, I can't live the rest of my life like this, Tony and Sage. What do I do? Oh my gosh. You want to start with this one?
Well, I think, number one, there's stages in relationships, and I think there's waves. And there's times even in our relationship when there's a different level of, we are very conscious of cultivating that passion. We're very conscious of cultivating that intimacy and creating it every day. And yet there are stages, and there's different, whether physical exhaustion or work or different pieces of distraction and taking yourself back to what's true. And also holding yourself in the identity. I think sometimes also what happens is we get married and all of a sudden, rather than being lovers, you see your wife as a wife, or you see your husband as a husband. And I think that there's different identities and different meanings and perceptions of who that is. And it almost has a neutralizing factor, if that makes sense. So it's, to be, when we got married, I said, I promise to be everything a wife will be and everything a wife shouldn't be. And I
lit me up like a Christmas tree.
and vice versa. And I think to have that knowingness, but also different eyes for your partner and seeing them through that place.
I think the other part is if you what makes a woman turn off or not have the energy, regardless of religion and so forth, is when she feels like the experience where she is she's unseen. Yeah. I give you 3 U's if it's helpful for you. If she feels unseen, she's going to close. Her energy's going to close. And for you, close means no love, no passion, no aliveness. And men don't realize that women want to be seen in the littlest ways. They want to notice, oh my God, honey, I noticed you put on those pearl earrings, or oh, you look so beautiful. Specific little things, because other women do this with the women. They tell them every little detail, right? And men often are so one-dimensional in their view of things that they don't give that experience that makes that woman feel seen. The other part is feeling understood. It's the other you. When a woman doesn't feel understood, she closes. And again, closing is death for a man, ladies. If you feel your energy is closed down, a man that feels like he has failed in every single way and there's no life, there's nothing. I mean, and he will become either angry or he'll become busy with something else or disassociated. But when a woman feels not understood, it's hard for men because the nature of men and women around one word, problems, is a universe that's different. Women connect by sharing their problems. Men die to kill problems. A man's self-esteem is his ability to destroy problems, break through them immediately. A woman wants to be understood. She doesn't want you to solve it. I'm sure you've heard this. And it's so hard for a man to get this in his nervous system because women, they connect, they share problems and understand each other. So if you can train yourself to hear her, to see her, to understand her more, you'll start to see her be open. But the biggest thing she needs is your presence instead of your judgment. If she can feel like even when she's not feeling attractive or not feeling sexy or not wanting to make love, if she can feel your love and your presence and that your unwavering presence, and presence means that you really are connected to her, that you're not in your own head about your own feelings, you're reaching into her mind, her heart, her soul, feeling her, and that you're calm. I used to be connected, all right, damn it, what's going on here? We're connected. But I wasn't calm, and sometimes I was calm, but I was inside myself, not connected. When you're calm and connected, that will open a woman. When the opening of your wife happens, then love will come out. And I know there's religion, I know there's shyness, but you cannot believe, I've shown it on stage so many times with women that are completely shut down, and you bring that man forward and you get him to be completely present, or you hear him understand, and you'll watch that person open like a flower. Ladies, to chew on the other foot, the piece you got to understand is that sees that if you're not getting what you want from your man, I can promise you, perfect because you care so much, but your idea of control is the opposite of what a man lives for, which is freedom. If you give a man love and freedom, you will own his ass. Trust me, I know. Because nobody ever, I'll never be able to stay with one human being in my life. I'm too passionate, too crazy. But this woman owns my soul because I never felt loved and free before. And so if you feel like you're controlling, if you're criticizing, you think it's just giving feedback. Women do this to women all the time. Oh, I don't know about that eyeshadow on you. Maybe, or that dress, I don't know if green's the right one for you, right? And interestingly enough, when you do that, you find yourself in a place where if a woman says to another woman, I don't know about that green dress, even if you dislike that woman, ladies, the next time you look at the green dress, you go, I don't know if I want to wear that or not. If you go to a truly masculine male and you say to me, I don't think you should be wearing that black sweater. I'm going to wear this effing black sweater every fucking day for the next 6 years, right? Because telling me what not to do to a masculine male, if he just bends, then basically, in technical terms, guys would call it eat your bitch. He has no sense of ownership of his own life. He wants to love you, wants to support you, wants to make you happy, but he's got to own himself. So if he feels controlled, if he feels criticized, and most importantly, if he feels you close to him emotionally, sexually, spiritually, that will destroy any chance of your man being present for you, feeling the safety that you deserve, ladies, and the understanding that you really do. So, in our events, we do demonstrations with people to do this. This is a one-way communication, unfortunately, but we demonstrate in minutes how fast you can take yourself from closed to open, how fast you can go from the man not even noticing to the man totally on fire to be around you. And it really comes down to a couple simple practices.
And ladies, being such nurturers that we are, there's such an outpouring outside of us, and sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves, and we, don't always realize the impact of that, of actually nurturing ourselves and how that actually opens us. So take care of yourself, and just also remember everything that Tom just shared is doing what you did in the beginning, even tone of voice. Like, there's so many things that neutralize polarity. And in the beginning, like, you think about it, there's just that spark and aliveness and excitement to see each other and the playfulness, and, things just roll off of you. And having that level of excitement and appreciation, it's just really, I think as well for men, ladies, is having a man feel appreciated, that you light up when he walks in the room, that he feels that he's the most important thing in your life, that he's your hero in every way, that there's no greater force to be able to impact a man from that perspective.
If a man feels admired, and I know in our culture, women are taught not to admire men, you're supposed to cut them down so you can control them. A controllable man is a man you'll never have passion with, or not lasting passion. A woman, Adele here, I think Adele Prince was her name, I saw her flashing by there. I'm trying to make sure we're incorporating what you guys really want us to talk about. She said, yeah, but what if you want a man to make decisions? Well, how many of you ladies out there, honestly, can't stand a man who can't make a decision? And when I ask this question in a room with 5,000 to 10,000 people, every woman starts cheering and clapping. You know, they all want a man to make a decision. But when he makes it, you criticize the shit out of him. Don't you tell him he's wrong. So if you really want to make more, it might be useful to, at times, be willing to have a little bit of trust. And if you can't find a man that you love and respect enough, that he's bringing enough to the table, that you're willing to have him make some of those decisions in the area that he has expertise or strength, then you don't have the right man in your life. If you're going to control everything, you're going to be caught up in the masculine. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone, male and female, have both masculine and feminine energy in them. I have both very clearly. I couldn't hold attention of 5,000 to 10,000 people for 4 days and nights, 20 hours a day with me and some music. How do you do that? Because I can tap into both sides. But I want you to know, everybody has a core. And if your core is masculine, your goal is to break through. Your goal is single focus. Your goal is to find a way to solve it, challenge it, break it through, make it happen, and celebrate and relax and let go. Your goal is to make big things small. If you're feminine, your goal is not to make big things small. You make small things big because you want to fill up with the energy of them. You want to connect to everything. You don't want to let go. You want to fill up. And that's the beauty of the masculine and feminine. When opposite energies are there, it creates an energy and an excitement. But what happens for us is many times we get out of what is our true nature too often. And when you're not being yourself, it's hard to love yourself. Because I don't love myself. When you're not being yourself. When you're not loving yourself, pretty hard to love somebody else. So if you can find a way to get back to your true nature, whatever it is, if you're feminine, that's your ability to not have to control everything. Because masculine has a tension in it. Feminine has a flow. And the flow can be explosive. It can change. It's like a storm. It's all sunny, and then there's a storm where all to come from, and then it's all sunny and beautiful again. That's the power of nature. That's the power of feminine. But you got to understand, one isn't better than the other. It's which one is your nature, and making sure you spend more time there in your relationship, because the authenticity of your raw energy, of what you really are, not what you're trying to be, is what creates effing magic and passion in a relationship. And you won't get that trying to construct yourself and be a certain way. And if you are feminine, and most women are, not all, regardless, by the way, if you're in a lesbian relationship and there's real passion, invariably there's a more masculine and more feminine energy, because that opposite energy, just like the North and South Pole creates the electrical energy of this earth, where you put, two things into a plug to create that electrical energy, those opposite energies, you have to have that in a relationship. And if you both start to get real feminine, you both get really masculine, you can be best friends, but you've neutralized everything. And what kills a relationship is loss of attraction. Because as long as there's attraction, all the things people do, you go, oh, isn't that the cutest thing in the world? But when there's not attraction, you go, why does she say that? Why did he say that? Why do they always do this? The loss of attraction comes from depolarization. Depolarizations mean you're both being the same way. And when that happens, you might have a friendship, but you're not going to have any passion.
And I think as well, as much as everything like Tom said just earlier, understanding, it's not just understanding your partner, understanding the differences takes off so many frictions or so many misunderstandings. Because a lot of times actual frustrations in relationships are just, we are such different species. And understanding just how we process information differently, I'll be like, oh my goodness, that's my man, because I understand how he's, it might be 11 o'clock at night and I'm wanting him to come do something, but I know he needs to complete that thought. And for me, I would just stop in that moment. It seems ridiculous. And vice versa with me. And I think that a lot of times for us, we don't have those conflicts because we really mind ourselves to understand each other and the differences just between male and female.
And there's also differences in any relationship too. Like, we both grew up very poor, and our families worked very hard. In my girl's family, you worked hard to make a deal, and negotiate. And my family, I worked so hard I make the money that I wouldn't have to make a deal. I didn't want to make a deal. I would rather give somebody all the money. So my nickname for my girl is Squeaky. And she said, you got money flying out of your bum, she would tell me at times. And so we'd have these initial kind of conflicts. And I can remember, for example, going to a camera store when they first had digital cameras coming out. And we were in Times Square. And it was way back when they first had digital cameras. They were just coming out. And I looked at them, we were blown away by them. It was Christmas time. And I said, I want to get one of these for my brother, my sister, my mom. And so I said, okay, I want 13 of these cameras. And the guy was all excited. He said, oh, Toни Роббинс, and comes, shakes my hand. He goes, I'll take these 13 cameras. He goes, oh, I want to take a picture, put it on my wall, you sign it. And my girl turns and says, hey, sharpen your pencil, buddy. Where's the discount here? And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to kill her. I can't believe she's doing this. But as the years have gone by, I have learned to appreciate my little squeaky girl here and appreciate that she's that conscious. Most people aren't. And she appreciates that I need to be able to, if I can earn it, to be able to create it or give it in a certain way. And we both refine each other, and it's come to a happier balance. But the truth is we're still different. It's just now I delight in that. Because in the beginning, I'd be pissed off or frustrated or, saying, why would you dare do that? And now it's just like, I expect her to be squeaky. And I enjoy her squeakiness. The best.
And that's a beautiful gift of just understanding. It's such an underrated, attribute as well, just kindness in relationship. Rather than going to what something means and having frustration or anger, just knowing your partner's heart and knowing the differences and appreciating from that place. Yes, we have another question coming in.
Great. Great. Tom in Nashville.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Hey, Tom.
Can you hear me? Hello?
I can. You got that really high-tech microphone there.
I know. Can you not hear me?
No, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. My question was this. I'm fairly newlywed, my third time, and so I've learned some lessons from the previous two. The first time doesn't count. I think we were just dating really hard. But the thing that I've come up with is that I tend to project my faults and my insecurities onto my wife. She's a very sweet woman. I love her very much. The most supportive person I've ever known. And even in the back of my head, we still end up, when it's over, I feel like, I started that fight. I know it. And so how do I get around that thing that you don't know what's happening, well, you kind of do, but when it's over, you can kind of see it. But those insecurities that I project, I would like to not do that.
I think we all have insecurities and, all can have charges and anchors in moments. I think there's a power, Tom, in owning it. And for myself, if I'm having a crazy moment, I'll literally say, hon, I love you so much. I'm sorry I'm being a crazy bitch. And it's so crazy because even if I
the minute that happens, the game's over.
And even look at your response. You just laughed at me calling myself a crazy bitch.
Or I'll say to honey, I know I'm being a reasonable bastard. Or I've worked up about all these other things and I let that energy carry over to this, honey, and I love you so much. Let me go change my state. This is not about you. I own it. The best argument we have, and people ask us all the time, what arguments do you have? The best arguments we have are, I'm trying to do something for her and she won't let me because she wants to do something for me. That's a really cruel argument that we have. Or the other one is, we both fight to take responsibility. And when people feel that you sincerely are taking responsibility, and we sincerely do, it's not bullshit, because we know it takes two to tango, and we also know our partner really loves us. So if this isn't working, I know at some level, some conflict internally, some state, some lack of understanding my partner's created this. If you own that, it is unbelievable how people respond. Not when you say, I'm sorry, but inside part of you is sorry that they didn't say they were sorry. Or you say you're sorry, but then you beat yourself up and you're mad at yourself. That's different than just catching it in the moment. And the more you catch it in the moment, it becomes a pattern. You literally get wired to do that. And the greatest thing in the world is if you start to be in the middle of an argument and then you see how stupid it is, and there's a little smile that comes across your face, and she'll see it in me, and I'll see it in her, and she'll go, this thing's already over, isn't it? Or, like Lydia's smiling about it, and I can realize how stupid this is right now. I'm sorry. But it's a new pattern. That's all you guys need is you need a new pattern to catch yourself. And if you do that a lot, I'll tell you something else. It'll make things safe for your wife. Because men have no clue how much there is a need for safety in women. If I asked you, when was the last time you were concerned for your life, your own safety, getting out of your car in a parking lot at night, how long ago was it? Last week, last month, last year, 5 years ago? Can't remember?
Never. And I realize what you're saying, that she comes up with that sort of thing all the time. And
sure.
Yeah, I guess.
A guy doesn't. If you ask women, though, when's the last time you had concern for your safety? Most of them can tell you in the last week or the last month multiple times.
Right.
And so we have a genetic capacity as men that's different than women, and we need to deliver that safety to them. And the more she feels it's safe to be crazy with you and that you're still loving her, because she's testing you also at this first year, and she'll be testing you for the next 25, I promise you, saying, can she be crazy, bitch, and will you still love her? If she can do that, not you're just, if she's being crazy and you go, you can be as crazy as you want, I own your last, you can kiss her and you're really there and you're not placating, you're not making her wrong, and you're bringing your presence to her, give me all you've got, that will shift everything.
And as well, Tom, what happens is after you're beating yourself up as well afterwards. You know what I mean? And because you feel bad that you got frustrated, you feel bad that you made her wrong or whatever that looks like. But in the moment, if you're like, hun, do you know what? This has nothing to do with you. I'm sorry if it feels like I'm being a dick. I love you more than anything. You'll laugh, she'll laugh. You give her a hug, and then it just breaks that pattern. It breaks that cycle. Ownership neutralizes the charge. And then, because otherwise what happens is you don't say anything, or you say anything afterwards, and then you beat yourself up and you feel bad, and the cycle just continues. There's power in the moment to neutralize it with the truth.
Well, it's just, it's a new habit. I'll tell you something else that's worth going to look at if you really want to make a shift in your nervous system. Yeah. All of us in our brains have patterns, and most of us don't have a balanced brain. Just like, if you're a great athlete, a great athlete has not only strength, if they have this balance. So if a football player, basketball player, they can move. Well, when your brain's in balance, when you develop a pattern of getting angry very easily, which is just what's called your sympathetic nervous system is like the accelerator. Your accelerator goes down fast, the way you describe things. Your wife might be the opposite. She might have the parasympathetic system, which is to kind of freeze when she's feeling unsafe. Oh, no. It's the opposite.
We're the same person. We both have that same thing.
Okay, good. So you both push down full tilt, right? So if you want to change that pattern, everyone told you will do it. But if you really want to take a giant step, there's something called brain balancing. And if you look on the internet, you'll find it. And it's a process where they literally do electrodes and they show you how your brain functions. Right to left, forward, back. And most people's brains are out of balance. And what it does is it just plays back sounds into your ears and visuals and creates a mirror for your own brain. It's no programming. And your brain's kind of like if you're walking by on the way out the door and you looked at the mirror and you go, oh, my tie's out of place. You adjust it. Your brain sees itself. It sees its own pattern. And it balances. And what's amazing, we've done it, and we've had it done for many of our family members. It's amazing. It's almost like you have a limiter to how upset you'll get. Because you just realize the absurdity because your brain has more choices because it's more balanced. And truly, if you guys are running a real challenges, even if you aren't, if you're just proactive and you're looking for, we're into peak performance, peak sexuality, peak emotion, peak love, peak joy, then it might be something worthy of you guys taking a look at because it will absolutely have an impact.
Well, yeah, we are definitely being proactive. We're not having any problems at all. But I want to do everything I can. Having been married before and having been through these relationships before, I'm getting older, and I don't want to start a new relationship again. I want to see this one through.
Good. Then go do that.
First screwcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you,
so
Tom.
Much. Take care of yourself, Tom. Blessings to you and your lady.
Thanks for calling in from Nashville.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another one? Great.
5 more minutes.
Amanda in Los Angeles coming on video. Hi, Amanda. Oh, she came in and came out.
Yeah.
She popped on and popped off.
That's called being a man and a woman. Or male and female.
I don't know if they heard the question. So the question was, how do you deal with a relationship with one's very logical, one's very emotional? Right? How do you deal with that? That's called a relationship, right?
Yes,
Usually.
yes.
And whether it be man and woman or whether it be, any relationship, if there's going to be polarity, there's going to be opposite ways of kind of processing and so forth. So I think a relationship goes through stages. Early stage is attraction and chemistry, and it's exciting and everything else. And then you'll bump up at some stage to where the same amount of chemistry, same amount of proximity, you start to get irritated, you get frustrated, something happens in your life. Maybe it's something outside the relationship that irritates you. That's when you really find what a relationship is when you can begin to love, to appreciate, to take in the opposite energy. I really believe that life is always trying to make us whole. And when you were born, we're all born completely open to anything. We didn't have to be a certain way. And then we all learned very quickly that you have to be a certain way to be loved by the source of love that mattered most to you, the love you craved, whether it be your mothers or your fathers. You may have loved them both, but one of them you craved more. And then you learned that you had to be good, or you had to be quiet, or you had to be smart, or you had to be dedicated, or you had to be crazy enough to get their attention, or bad enough to get their attention. And these patterns we learn early in life end up becoming patterns that shape a good portion of our life. And so really, what you really want to be able to do is you want to be able to see if you got the same person you were across from you, you're not going to grow. It's like invariably you're going to attract your opposite. And that's because early in life you decided you were a certain way and you weren't another way. Well, you're all those things. Every one of us has a crazy person and a logical person. Every one of us has a person that can be totally giving and totally selfish. If you pretend you're only one thing all the time for years and try to be that, it's like trying to push down a tiger, and one day you're going to get tired and the tiger's going to pop out and you're going to go, what happened to Tony? What happened to Sage? That's not them. But yes, it is. It's a part of you you've denied. And so what I find in a relationship is very often what you're attracted to in a relationship is the opposite. The person gets a relationship says, oh my God, I love how he takes control of the room and he's just so in charge and he's a force of nature. And then 3 or 4 years later, you're like, does he ever shut up? Why does he always have to take control of the room? Why is he? And the reason is because you were attracted to your opposite because that opposite is in you. And it's God, the universe, the world, whatever you want to call it, saying, you don't have to become like this 100%, but you got to take in this energy and awaken to it in you so you're more whole. And if you don't do it, you'll start to resent the very thing you were attracted to in that person.
I think one of the beautiful gifts of actually being in a relationship is actually having that platform and space that you can be all of yourself and be loved and have it met with understanding. And it's not always easy. And part of it is just a discovery and sharing. Somebody was asking earlier, I was reading one of the questions about having, conflicts and frustrations and how that shows up in our life. Something that I think we do really well is by not having a conversation in the heated moment, by actually, if there's anything that, is on my heart or on his heart, we'll share on just in a time when the charge isn't alive so that it can be met with understanding. And it just takes a lot of that energy away, if that makes sense.
I think it's also important to realize that I always tell people 95% of a great relationship is selection. And selecting the person whose heart and soul is aligned with what you're about, selecting the person that has the opposite energies that you have. But it's also, once you're in a relationship, selecting the person in you that's going to meet your partner. Because we all know there's many different personalities on this if we're honest about it, right? So are you going to select, the playful one? Are you going to select the logical one? Are you going to select, and you might, for example, sir, only see yourself as purely logical, but the harder you work at that, there's going to be a day when you wake up and realize how much emotion is inside you that you've been pushing down. And so she's in your life, perhaps, for you to tap into some of that emotion. It's why you attracted her. And when we limit ourselves to being one way, boy, that's what's going to make you not only miserable in yourself, but miserable in a relationship, because then you're going to expect your partner to be one way. I wake up every day knowing I have no idea who this person is going to be with me, except I know I love her, I worship her, she's crazy as shit, she's made of pure love and joy, and if she's pissed off, she's going to be fully pissed off, but she's a hell of a lot more happy than she is anything else because I love all the parts of her. And I feel the same way with me. I feel like, whoever I'm going to be today, if I'm going to be driven, I'm going to be hungry, I'm going to be going for it, I'm going to be pissed off or be frustrated, I'm still going to be loved because the base of our relationship is that. And when you have a base of love, then all you need is polarity. You need to own your masculine and feminine for the sparks to fly so you have love and passion. Because if all you have in your relationship is love, it's a beautiful thing, but you can love a friend. The only difference between an intimate relationship and a friendship is intimacy. And so really we're about both. We're about having that love and passion and not settling. And we all get what we tolerate. We get what we tolerate in ourselves. We get what we tolerate in our relationship. And if you want to lift your relationship, decide that you're going to create it the way you want it and not settle for the way things are, but also learn to appreciate the things you're not appreciating in yourself. That's why that mirror is there, I really believe. Last question. Yes, please.
I'm in a Canadian.
Hi there.
Hi, Brandon and Carolyn. Hi. We're wonderful.
the cool technology. You're in your living room, we're in our living room having a chat.
Chatting with you. At home.
Yeah, that's great. Tell us what's your question.
So my question is I used to work for Carolyn, my girlfriend, and she fired me.
I was his boss.
She was my boss, and she fired me, which changed our dynamics of my relationship. It changed my dynamic with relationship between money, my safety, my security. And I was wondering, like, it affected our relationship as well. And I was wondering, how do I get that back?
Well, what you're describing is losing some of your certainty. Is that a fair description?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So certainty, it can be disrupted by a new pattern, disrupted by a new hierarchy, especially for a male, right? So it's kind of interesting. The woman that you love had a hierarchy to fire you, right? And so that would produce uncertainty in you. And then that would also create a dynamic in your relationship where you might love each other, but at times not have as much passion as you both want. It would just naturally show up because there'd be that uncertainty. If your lady there has feminine as her core, which by the way she comes across, she clearly does. That does not mean she's not masculine. She has that power clearly to fire your ass, right? And my hope is you deserved it at the time, right? But the point of the matter is you need to regain back that masculine. And the best way for the masculine to do that is to do something physical, like to have a daily practice of working out, of pushing yourself beyond what you're comfortable with. Otherwise, the more you get comfortable, the more you shrink. Masculine energy grows by demand. Feminine energy does not grow by demand. Why are you being so feminine, so masculine? Be more feminine. Feminine energy shrinks with demand. Feminine energy grows by acknowledgement. You know, men don't go to other men and go, how does my ass look in these pants and these jeans? Does that look okay to you? Not masculine men, right? But women will do that all day long. They go, you look beautiful. No, you look beautiful. No, you look more beautiful, right? So feminine grows with praise, masculine by challenging. You need some daily physical challenges, set a few goals that are tough that you go make happen, where you have that sense of your purpose again. And this little girl over here will light up like a Christmas tree when she sees you as a train on a track who knows that he's made for her, who will not be stopped, and it's going to go through. She's smiling right now, right as I even talk about it back here. That's what she wants, right? And that's what you want. And when that happens, the polarity will intensify between you. You obviously have a beautiful, loving, and passionate relationship, but it'll magnify. So you got to make this a discipline that goes, I don't work out less than 4 days a week, 3 days a week. I'm going to do something tough, or I take on a martial art, something that's going to push you, because it'll change not only your relationship, it'll make you more fulfilled as a man.
I used to be in martial arts, and just kind of add on to that, I used to be in martial arts, but I injured my back. I have a herniated disc, so I stopped that. And that was one of the things that was kind of my downfall of, you know, how I felt strong.
When you first met him, what was your attraction to him?
Well, we actually met at a gym.
Martial arts facility.
Martial arts. Oh, interesting. Wow.
Yes. So did he have that sense of certainty about him?
Did. Very, very much so.
Yes. So listen, here's what's happened. Our relationships, this is good for everyone listening to think about. Relationships go through a certain cycle, and then we have a change in our life conditions. You have a child, you have a problem at work, or you get a benefit at work, or you work more hours or less hours, or something happens to a family member and they need your attention, or you get physically ill or exhausted, or you hurt your back. And those change in life conditions require a change in your blueprint, the way you go about your life again. And you just need to bring back that physical component, that demand component. And regardless of your back, there are other ways to do it. You can work out without messing out your back. You just need to go get one and like not just think about the shit, but do it. Because one thing she's going to look at is, did you listen to him? Did you follow through? She'll probably remind you of this shit, I can promise you. So don't let her remind you. Go do it first and kick ass and take control.
Okay,
Awesome.
perfect. Thank you,
Thank
Tony.
you so
Thank
much.
you, Chase.
Blessings to you both.
Guys, take care.
Listen, we hope you all have a magnificent Valentine's Day, and that's actually our anniversary. It will be our 16th year together, which is amazing. And we really enjoy this process with you. We hope you've enjoyed it as well. And if you want to continue your research and studies on this, we've done so many interventions with people in real relationships in real time, and then followed up a year or 2 years later so you can see the changes. And we made them into a series of films, and we made them in a program called our Ultimate Relationship Program. So they'll have some kind of offering on the screen, but I believe you can try it. You can get it, I think, for shipping and handling alone, and try it for 30 days. And if you love it and keep it, then they'll bill it over 90 days for you. But we just hope this has been helpful for you. And we're seeing all these things going by, so many of them. Want to get to as many as we could in the hour, but we hope it was empowered. We believe there's nothing more valuable than love. I don't give a damn how great your work is, how much money or acknowledgement or respect you get, Oscars, etc. I deal with people all over the world now for, 36 years now. And I can tell you the wealthiest, the most successful in every way, when they're not successful in their intimate relationship, there is an emptiness, there's a hole that nothing else will fulfill. And that does not mean the relationship's always easy, but it's always worth it. And if you are lucky enough to find the right one, or create the right one in yourself to attract that person as well, then you're going to have a magical and magnificent life. So thank you.
Happy Valentine's Day. Come see us one day at an event, and if not, come join us on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter. Take care.
Social media.
I am a social media master. Take care, you guys. God bless. Love to you.
Bye-bye. Take
Happy
care.
Valentine's Day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.